We've been reporting on passage of President Trump's big, beautiful bill and reporting that it will cut some government programs, but we're also kind of wondering how it's going to impact your personal finances, your wallet book, as Michelle has put it.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, I like that. That could be a new app, maybe. Wallet book.
Sometimes when I'm ad-libbing, I just am like, what? Pocketbook or your wallet. Or your wallet.
I love it.
Jeff Sachs is here, one of our favorites from Sachs Financial. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me back.
Overall, your opinion, who wins the most out of the OBBB?
Well, I think, it's easy to say that everybody wins when our taxes stay a little bit lower.
Okay.
But generally, the taxes that, the changes that were made are going to affect those folks that have more income, the higher income earners, because of the tax brackets, the SALT expansion of that deduction, and the estate tax as well.
And you say SALT deduction, what is that for people?
That is the state and local tax that was expanded. Most people, though, won't be affected by that because, number one, you have to itemize. So it's an under-the-line deduction. Now, I got to preface all this. We're going to talk a lot about taxes. I'm not a CPA, so I'm going to do my best.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
We trust you.
You know what, though? Can I just say something? When you're like high-income earners might benefit the most. I'm always wondering, I don't feel like I'm a high-income earner, right? I mean, I make a good living. I'm not trying to say that. But what I mean is, there's so many people who fall in between like, oh, you're too high income to get help in X, Y, and Z or student loans or whatever it may be. So like, what is a high-income earner?
Well, I think if you're, the way that the federal government has been defining it, they tend to break it out at, if you're married, they're looking at $200,000 plus.
The household income.
Household income.
Okay.
I would say $100,000 for an individual would be considered a high income, and then double that for a married couple. Obviously, that's a lot of income, and that depends on, a lot of factors. When we're doing our planning, we're not really looking at how much money you're making, we're looking at how much you're saving.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and you kept hearing that this had to pass because we can't let those tax cuts lapse, that type of thing. What would have happened if we let those lapse?
So, I mean, what would have happened is that we would have gone back to where the tax brackets were prior to 2017. So there would have been a slight expansion of the tax brackets. There would have been another tax bracket added on. And some folks would have seen their taxes go up. The standard deduction, which is now over $15,000 for an individual, $30,000 for a married couple, that would have dropped down, which would have meant that we would have had to change how we're doing our taxes.
Okay.
So it's not that this had to pass because taxes were really a big issue. Our taxes are relatively low looking at the history of taxation in our country.
Okay.
Right. I think that there are a lot of things that went into this that don't necessarily benefit us directly from our taxes. We do save a little bit. There are some expansions. One of the big ones for seniors is an extra $6,000 of above the line, so that's even before you calculate your income, to help offset Social Security taxation.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Well, what about working families? You've got pros and cons, right, with this bill? Yeah.
So, I mean, working families, you are benefiting because there is an enhanced child tax credit. Went up from $2,000 to $2,200 with inflation. Again, the tax brackets itself will help working families because the 12% tax bracket, the 22% tax bracket is still there. So that is a big one, the Social Security. And then the other one, the big one that everybody is talking about is the tax on tips and overtime.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you hear everybody saying no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. But there is actually a limit to how much you can claim, and it's $25,000.
Okay.
For a married couple, and then $12,000 for an individual.
And you do have to claim it. Sorry, I was wondering. I heard a guy saying that it would limit his income or what he declares, and that would be a negative, even though he was not going to be taxed on tips.
Well, it's one of those above the line deductions. So you earned it immediately if you show that you have tax income from tips or overtime. that would immediately kind of get wiped away from your income, your original income calculation.
Oh, and then what you're putting into Social Security? Would it
Well, no,
wipe
you
that?
still, so
some?
that's the other thing, is it's not no tax. It's just no federal tax.
Oh.
Because you're still paying payroll taxes and
Sure.
state taxes on that tipped income.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what about cons for working families? Because I mean, there are we've been talking about Medicaid, and
Right.
so individually that's going to affect people too.
Yeah, you know, if you're working, hopefully you've got enough income coming in that you're not qualifying for Medicaid, but they have made that harder, and I think we could spend hours talking about the pros and cons of changing that around and the political beliefs behind that. But we'll keep it on the money.
On the money,
So, yeah.
not on the
Yeah.
health care,
Yeah.
Medicaid,
Yeah.
or
No, we won't
Yeah.
go there.
Right,
but
right.
I do think that, you know, for working families, it is the no tax on tips, or the first 12 to 25,000. It is there is an increase in the Social Security deduction for seniors. So if you're still working and pulling Social Security, because there are people out there that are doing that, those are really the biggest ones that I could find.
Okay.
There was some changes, which I think we were going to talk about in 401ks and things like that, but we'll save that for another day.
Say that for another day, because a lot of people have individual questions about 401ks too. I
Yes.
think so. We'll get a twofer in next time we
Luckily,
see you.
we love you and we
Yeah.
have you back all the time. And I hope that wasn't
I
weird
will
me
bring my
saying that.
pocket wallet. What was it?
Your pocketbook.
Pocketbook, gonna get
Oh
it.
my
We're
gosh.
watching our pocketbooks.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Jeff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jeff Sachs at SachsFinancial.com.
Yeah. I got it.
Right on. You were going to be
Okay.
sure to get that
I
in.
wanted to make sure that we give Jeff a
Yeah,
plug.
next time we talk to him, I want to talk about tariffs too, see how that's going. You know, that's a cliffhanger. Cliffhanger.